Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to Manful Yoga. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some exercises for plantar fasciitis, also called plantar heel pain. So before I get started, I just want to let you know we upgraded our cameras recently. So this is one of our first videos that we're doing with our 4K cameras. So be on the lookout for more videos from this YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. You have any questions, you like the video, be sure to like the video and leave a comment in the comment section if you have a question or just want to say hi. So here we go. So we're going to be in this video talking about and showing you specific exercises to address both plantar fasciitis as well as the root causes of plantar fasciitis. So it's a combination of number one, strengthening your feet and strengthening your ankles, which is, right around that plantar area, the bottom of your foot. And then secondarily, we actually want to work on strengthening your hips. And hip weakness can be a root cause of plantar pain. So again, we're going to be starting with working on your feet and your ankles, and then also working on some really basic hip exercises. And in this video, I'm not actually going to show you yoga postures. So you might be wondering, why is a yoga person showing you non-yoga exercises? But the reason for that is if you don't have the proper strength or the proper mobility in your feet or in your hips, and then I just tell you to go do some yoga postures, you're not actually going to get the benefit in those yoga postures. You're going to be doing the yoga postures, but not in a way that helps to address plantar fasciitis. So I'm going to be helping you to isolate those specific muscles and those specific muscle groups which are at the root cause of plantar heel pain. So that's what we're going to be going through in this video. And then in a follow-up video, I'm going to be showing you a few yoga postures to help, as well as explaining the proper technique to make sure that you're getting those benefits as they relate to plantar heel pain or plantar fasciitis. So hope that makes sense. So I'm going to start with some easy exercises and then kind of build in difficulty from there. We're actually going to start seated. So I've got my chair. And we're going to do a bit of band strengthening, so with some resistance bands, and then also some basic exercises using marbles. If you don't have marbles, you can use just anything you have lying around your house that you can pick up with your feet, and that's actually what I did. So we're going to get started with that marble drill. So I'm just going to have you fill up a cup with like 20 small objects, and you're going to pour that out on the ground. And we're going to pick these up with your feet and then put them in the cup. Okay, so I'm going to pick up got a little battery here. I'm going to pick that up, drop it in, and then I'm going to do this for all these little objects that I have here. And some of these objects I might not actually be able to pick up. So that was an oversight. But you want to be able to get things that you can actually pick up with your feet. And this is going to help with strengthening your feet, strengthening your toes, which is important in addressing weakness. So a lot of plantar heel pain and just pain in general is caused by weakness. So we want to look at the areas directly involved, but also the areas that are connected to and the areas that work in conjunction with whichever area is in pain. So in this case, it's the bottom of my foot, but I also want to look at the areas that connect to that part. That's why I'm looking at my toes, my ankles, my calves, my soleus muscle, my Achilles tendon. So I'm looking at those areas as well. Anyway, so that's the first exercise, and then when you're done with that, you're going to pour it out and do the other foot. And I would recommend doing this 2 or 3 times with, again, maybe about 20 marbles. Marbles you can buy on Amazon for like $3 or something like that. And if you don't have marbles or you don't want to use marbles, then you can use some other small object. But you get the idea. So there's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is using bands. And if you don't have resistance bands, they're really inexpensive. We actually sell them on our website. We sell a set for $15. And these are things that exercise equipment that's very transportable and you can use for pretty much any part of your body. And really important for injury prevention and also injury recovery. So we've got yellow, red, and green. Yellow is the easiest, red is medium, and then green is your heavier band. So now we're going to do some ankle strengthening. We're going to start with E version, which is moving away from your foot. So to do that, I'm going to have you put the band around the ankle that you're strengthening and put it kind of on the ball of your foot. And you're going to put that other foot like so, like this. So you have some tension on the band. Make sure that the left foot, which we're working here, the heel is on the ground. And then you're just gonna move that away, squeeze it away, let it come back. And we're just gonna work on squeezing this away and letting it come back. So this is called abduction or eversion, moving my foot away from the other foot. And I'm gonna do maybe 15 or 20 of these. And I'm going really slow here. I don't wanna just go quick like that. That's not actually gonna do much for me. So I'm going slow, holding it there for a little bit, and then releasing. Squeezing, holding it for a second, and then slowly releasing. So that's the first one. The next one is you're gonna cross your leg over. So I'm gonna cross my right foot over my left foot, like so. Hold the band, and now I can move my foot toward the inside. This is called adduction. So I'm moving my foot in, right, like this. And to get more tension, just choke up on it more. You can also change the bands. And notice I'm doing the same thing here. I'm moving it away, holding it for a second, and then slowly releasing it. And I want to do 20 of these as well. So this is focusing directly on strengthening your ankles. Next part is plantar flexion. So we're going to be moving the foot away from you. So you can hold it like this, and you're going to point the toes, and then release, and then point the toes, and then release, point the toes, and release. Kind of like you're pushing a gas pedal, right? So again, this thing, we want to do 15 or 20. Make sure that you have tension on the band the entire time. And you might have to play around with the band. It might slip, it might roll up. That's pretty par for the course with resistance bands. And these are specifically TheraBands. So you might not want to get the ones with loops. Those are good for some exercises, but not for everything. So that's your plantar flexion. And now we want to do your dorsiflexion, which is flexing your toes toward you. So for this, you're going to put your other foot down, kind of hook the band like this, and bring your left foot in a little bit closer to your body. And then you're going to bring the toes, flex the toes in toward the shin, and then slowly release. Flex the toes in, and then slowly release. In, and slowly release. So we're doing 15 or 20 of all of these. I would do maybe two or three sets if you have time. 2 sets would be ideal. And then you want to make sure you do both sides. So do that for both sides. Even if you're only injured on one, if you only have plantar fasciitis or plantar heel pain on one foot, you want to make sure to do it for both sides so you don't develop any imbalances. So there's your next exercise. Next exercise is a heel raise. So we're going to do an elevated heel raise. For this, you're going to need a block or just something that you can put your rest your feet on. You can also do this on a box jump if you have a box jump nearby. If you have something that you can stand on that's 6 inches off the ground. So for this, you're going to stand, and I would recommend that you have something to hold on to. It could be a couch, it could be a wall, it could be whatever, anything that's external support that you can hold on to. So I'm going to kind of rest my hands against the wall here, and I need to move my feet back a little bit here. So I'm going to start so that my heels are hanging off the edge here, so that my heels aren't on top of the block, they're behind the block like this. I'm gonna let myself come down a little bit, so heels drop below the block, and then I'm gonna come up onto my toes, get as high as I can, press the toes down, externally rotate my ankles so the fronts of my ankles face slightly out, and squeeze your heels in toward one another just a little bit, and then slowly come back down. So pushing up, standing up all the way, and then slowly coming back down. And where you'll build the most strength in this exercise is as you come down, so in the eccentric portion of the exercise. So you want to make sure that you're going slow as you come down. You can stand up. You don't have to do it quickly, but there's not as much benefit to standing up quick slowly. So just make sure that you're coming down slowly here. And then to make this more difficult, you can do just one leg. So we could cross one leg over, right? And then we can do one leg at a time, slowly coming down. And if you can't do that, then what you could do is you could stand up with both feet at once and then lift one leg and then slowly release down. And that way you're able to build up to being able to do the start of the exercise with one foot. All right, so for those, I would do 10 to 15, and again, 2 to 3 sets of those exercises. And then the last exercise is called a short foot exercise, or what's called doming as well. Basically with this, what we want to do is work on shortening the foot or pronouncing the arch of the foot. So we're going to put the foot on the ground, look really carefully at my foot here. You're going to squeeze your toes toward your heel. Okay, so I'm kind of dragging my toes in toward my heel. Notice that I'm not scrunching my toes up. Okay, I'm squeezing my toes in toward my heel, pronouncing the arch of my foot. Trying to create more of a shadow between the arch of my foot and the ground. Just like that. So you can practice this for about 30 or 45 seconds. And you might not get it at first. If you haven't done this exercise before, it does take some work. It does take some time to build that muscle memory, to build that connection between your foot and your brain to be able to do that exercise. So if you can't do it yet, just keep trying. Eventually, your brain will build that neural pathway and you'll be able to do it, but it takes some time at first. So that's the first variation. You want to make sure we do the second side, so switch sides. And again, I'm squeezing my toes in toward my heel, like so. I want to make sure that I'm not squeezing my toes in, so I'm not just crunching my toes, right? I'm actually just lifting the arch of my foot. And as you do this, you're going to feel kind of the muscles around your ankles working, and that's what we want. And then from here, we can add some progression, right? So we could do a little walk with this. Short foot, pronounce the foot, little step, keep that ankle, keep that arch lifted as you step forward. We can also do it, the easier way would be to do it with your hand on the wall at first, right? So shorten the foot and then lift the other foot with one hand on the wall. And now we have a little bit of support. And then maybe lifting your hand away from the wall and maintaining that arch. So whatever variation you do here, you want to make sure that we're doing it for about 60 to 90 seconds per side. If you're going to do both at once, then maybe do a 2-minute exercise, right, where you're walking and working on keeping that dome or keeping that short foot engaged. All right, so those are your 4 exercises specifically to target your ankles and your feet. I also want to show you just 4 exercises for your hips. So these are the most basic hip strengtheners you can do. These are really helpful not just for plantar fasciitis, but also for overall knee, back, and hip function. So for this, you can use bands, but the most basic version of this is not bands. So I'm going to show you how to do it without bands. You're going to lay down on your side. We're going to start with your abductors, the outside of your hips. Stack your legs on top of one another. And then squeeze, right here I'm going to have my left leg on top of the right leg. I'm going to squeeze my left leg up like this, feel these muscles in my outer hips working, and then slowly release down. Notice that my toes stay facing out, my hips and my shoulders stay facing directly outside. I'm not rolling back. Okay, I'm keeping my hips stacked. And you can do 30 to 60 seconds of this. You can do different variations of this. You can do kind of a simple exercise where we just squeeze up and hold for a minute or a second and then release down. Or you could do it where you just hold it for like 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. So you can play around with that. The important thing is that you're getting 60 to 90 seconds of tension per set and then doing that 2 or 3 times. So that's your first exercise. Make sure to do both sides. Second one is for your inner thighs, your adductors, and we're going to target your right side with this particular one. So you're going to cross your left foot over your right foot or over your right knee, still got the hips stacked, and then you're going to squeeze your left inner thigh toward your right inner thigh. So squeezing it up, make sure that your ankle stays neutral here, that you're not curling your foot up and trying to just lift your foot instead of lifting the thigh, and then just squeezing that inner thigh, your right inner thigh toward your left inner thigh. And then maybe releasing down, and then exhaling to squeeze back up. Holding there for a second, and releasing down. Or, again, you could do an isometric version of that, where you're holding it for 5 or 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. Again, the important thing here is to get about 60 or 90 seconds of tension per set, per side. So you want to make sure there are So far we've gone through 2 exercises. You're going to need to do 2 each because you have 2 sides. Next exercise is for hip extension. So this is going to target the backs of your hips or your hamstrings and your glutes. You're going to lie on your chest for this. You're going to squeeze your leg up like so. You can also point your toes, squeeze your leg up as much as you can. Try not to roll onto your right side as you're doing this and cheat, but keep your hips facing straight down as you lift your leg up, and then release. Exhale to push up. Hold it, point your toes, make sure the hips are facing down. Again, don't roll back your left hip. Don't try to roll onto your right side here, and then release down. So again, 30, 60, 90 seconds total tension there. And you're going to want to switch sides. Make sure you do it for both sides. And and then might as well do hip flexion since we've done hip extension too. So for hip flexion, you're going to lay on your back. We'll keep with the left side here. You're going to squeeze your left leg in like this. Squeeze as tight as you can in, and then push your hands into your thigh, push your thigh back into your hand, and that's going to be working on your hip flexion here. And again, you can do this in reps if you want, or you could just hold it there for 30 seconds as a more isometric exercise. All right, so there are your 4 exercises for your hips. And again, those are at their most basic hip strengthening. If you want to make them more challenging, you can add in bands, right? So for the bands, you're going to tie a loop. You're going to put it around your foot, around your feet. And that way you can add a little bit more tension to make it more difficult. So instead of just lifting against gravity, you're lifting against the band, and you just have a little bit more tension there, like so. And then from there, once we have the proper strength in your ankles and the proper muscle activation and the proper movement essentials in your ankles and your hips, then we can progress to full yoga postures in a way that's actually going to address plantar fasciitis. Because again, if all you do is start doing yoga postures and you don't have that proper strength already, and if you are getting plantar fasciitis, there's a really good chance that you lack that essential strength that you get from these exercises I just showed you. So if you just jump straight to yoga postures without doing this, it's not going to be very helpful. So these are exercises that you can do and that are relatively easy and simple to help address the root causes of plantar fasciitis. And I'm going to make another video in which I follow up and tell you some yoga postures that you can do to help as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this in the members area, thank you so much for being part of our community. Yeah, that's all I've got. Check out manfulyoga.com for more programs, more workouts. If you like this approach, you're going to love our programs, our workouts, and tutorials there. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.